Welcome to another episode of Mighty Car Mods, proudly supported by Just Car Insurance.
Now, we get a lot of emails here at Mighty Car Mods headquarters, and today we have an email from Ulrich. And he says... What do you mean?
Is he a Viking? Like, his name's Ulrich and he wear horns and have a
We got an email from Ulrich and he says, hey guys, I just bought a brand new Porsche and one of the options was tyre pressure sensors, but I didn't take it. Why do I need them?
Because they wirelessly send the pressure and the temperature of your tyres into the car so you can see what's happening. Mad for the track.
It's meant to be mad for the track. Anyway, he says, guys, now I'm spewing. He doesn't say that. He said I was vomiting haggis, that I didn't get them put in. And can you please show me how to retrofit tyre pressure sensors in my car so I can get some mad track times?
We just need a Porsche.
Like this one. This is a Porsche 911 that we stole. Okay, we didn't steal it. We borrowed it without permission from our mate Iron Gav, who's a graphics guru. Now this car is proper fast. 0 to 100 in 4-point-something seconds, which Marty reckons is almost as quick as the Blue Turd. Now the 911 is powered with a flat-six water-cooled engine that lives in the boot. Now in America, this car will set you back around 90 grand. But in Australia, it's almost $250,000. So why does it cost so much more in Australia? Good question. Now this is one of the first cars at MCM that hasn't arrived on a tow truck, and we're going to try and keep it that way. Okay, so the way this system works is there's a sensor in each wheel and it's wirelessly sending data to this little control unit. Now it's sending tyre pressure and tyre temperature, and that's all getting displayed on this little unit which you can mount inside the car. Now if your tyre pressure gets too low or too high, it sets off a little alarm, which is mad, because then you know exactly what's going on in your wheels, and hopefully that will lead to better lap times. We're heading to Tempe Tyres to have transmitters installed into each of the wheels. It is possible to remove tyres yourself at home, but it's time consuming and we have to get the tyres rebalanced afterwards because of the extra weight of the transmitters. So this time we're leaving it to the pros. The car's raised up and each wheel is removed and marked so that we can keep track of which transmitter is going into which wheel. Then it's onto the tyre changer where the bead is broken and the tyre's carefully pried from the rim. The transmitter's attached to the tyre through the hole that a regular valve uses. It sits flush with the inside of the wheel and transmits pressure and temperature to the receiver inside the cabin. With all 4 transmitters installed, each wheel has to be balanced so there's no vibration at high speeds. The wheels are installed back on the car and it's time to head back to MCM headquarters to install the rest of the system.
Now this is a really simple install. You're literally just connecting up 3 wires. The tools you're going to need to get to those wires are some trim removal tools, some screwdrivers, some scissors, some cheap strippers, some solder and a soldering iron to connect it all up, and of course your tyre pressure monitoring system.
The first step is to remove the trim from where you're going to be installing the display.
Now if you've just bought yourself a 911 off eBay, make sure you pick up one of these Torx screwdrivers for another $1 because the insides are littered with these screws. Another mad tip is put the screws in order that you take them off, so when you put it back together you know to start from there and work your way back.
What about the left-handers, Martin? I'd prefer to start from that side and go this way.
That's what I did. I started from that side and went that way.
You just demonstrated this side to that way and now everyone's confused.
No, because you read from the left to the right, that's the beginning and the right's the end, and then when you work your way back, you know that you start from the end back to the start, because fitting is, refitting is reversal of the removal process. I hate it when they say that.
Oh, that's like people who say, I didn't do nothing.
Yeah.
Because they did something.
Double negative.
If you didn't do nothing, that means you did something. You've just admitted that you did something wrong.
And I would say that it's not actually a reversing of the removal, because the removal you're like breaking stuff and pulling things off. I'm not going to do that.
You can't unbreak stuff, Martin.
You can't unbreak stuff.
You can't. You can just glue it together. So what you're saying is, as you take it off, put
Start
it left
there.
to right.
Yep.
And then when you put it back together, you go this way to that way, which
Exactly
is
right.
what you demonstrated in the first place before I wrecked it.
Rectum.
So it's a really good idea if you're installing stuff in your car that does involve some hacking of the dash to try and install it in something that is removable. So we're going to be installing the little screen in this. That way, if the car's ever sold, you can just replace this part here, which is going to be cheap for a Porsche, probably only $40,000. And then you can just put another one in there and then sell your car. No one will know the difference. And it's much better to replace something like this than try and replace something like this, unless you've got a Daihatsu, of course, and then this costs more than your whole Daihatsu costs anyway, and then hack it up. Go crazy, but on a Porsche, no. We're going to use that.
The trim only needs to be removed enough to access the wiring underneath. It's important to use plastic trim removal tools which won't scratch the soft trim.
This thing is literally put together like a big puzzle. It's so precise. It has the date it was done. The 19th of the 5th, 2009 was when that went in. By Gunther over in Germany. How you going, Gunther, if you're watching? Hi, man. Good job. Really hard to get apart. You did well.
The ashtray has a cigarette lighter, which is an easy place to pick up power from. The receiver draws very little current, so it doesn't need its own circuit.
All it's left to do is to find a switched power that comes on only when you turn the key.
Switched power can be picked up easily from the steering column in most cars, but in this one it's hidden deep inside the dash, so we're going to use the fuse box instead.
Alright, so we found some switched power down at the fuse box. We were going to run it down from the fuse box, up around the top of the footwell and back down to where our little display is. If I've done it right, when I put this key in and turn it, boom, we got 12 volts. Awesome.
Next, it's time to crack out your soldering iron and melt things, but be careful. It's as simple as stripping back the wire and splicing into each one with the wires from the display. Avoid melting the inside of the car. You don't want to be replacing Porsche seats unless you've got an absolute crapload of Facebook shares. With all the wiring tested and working, it's time to install the display. A hole needs to be drilled in the bottom of the ashtray, and with that done, the display can be slotted into place.
Check it out. And he lives down in there, and the pressure from the pressure from the plastic holds it in.
That is awesome. Look at that.
That's mad.
That is seamless.
It looks like it's meant to be there, and it just doesn't visually look
And you can't
un-Porsche-like.
see any damage.
No, and it doesn't look like un-Porsche-like because it's not hanging out of your dash.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
It's awesome. Mad. So we
I
power
love it.
and we
That's
just
great.
power it up, and it's done.
Unless you're a professional, which we're not, it takes some guts to work on someone else's car when just that little cigarette lighter container's worth $3.5 million.
Reinstall the trim, being careful not to scratch anything, and screw it down tight so you don't get rattles.
This is a system that you can get installed from the factory. Porsche do have it. It is an option, but it costs $1,590. Now, being a Porsche, everything on the options list is subject to luxury car sales tax, and that means that the tax component of that $1,590 is $363. Now, that is around the price of our whole system, so that's a DIY for the win.
Alright, so the unit's in and working. That's pretty much it. It just displays all 4 tyre pressures and cycles through them, or you can press the button which shows you each tyre. That's it. We get an alarm when they're flat or when they're overinflated, and we can keep an eye on the pressures and the temperatures. So I think we should take it for a drive.
So Marty took it for a drive to test everything out and lived happily ever after, convincing himself that the Porsche is just like his little Daihatsu. Quite simply, a more expensive blue turd.
Okay, so there it is. It's a pretty simple and nerdy mod. Now, it has a few benefits outside of keeping the eye on the pressures as well when you're on the track. A lot of tyres for Euros, particularly Porsches, can cost thousands and thousands of dollars. And if you're too lazy to get out of your car and check the pressure of your tyres every day, now you can just see it all on a little screen, and that is mad, Ulrich.
And a system like this costs about a third of what it costs to get fitted from the factory. It does the exact same thing.
And remember as well that if you're getting luxury cars, then all of these options are also subject to luxury car tax. And that sucks. You can read a massive rant about that from Iron Gavin, issue 2 of the Mighty Car Mods magazine. Speaking of which, issue 3 of the Mighty Car Mods magazine, completely refreshed, rebranded, relaid out, and looking incredible like a wizard's bottom. That's how good it looks. Sparkly and brand new because it's never been used. You can find that at the Mighty Car Mods shop, mightycarmods.com. You can go to the shop there and find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Mighty Car Mods. I'm going to go and eat a yak.
Welcome to another episode of Mighty Car. Not again. Again with the mouth thing.
No, I'll do the mouth thing when I like.
You're going to do the mouth thing. But it makes me laugh, dude, and then people don't think we're serious.
No, I'm serious. I love it.
You
Let's
are?
do it.
Right. Welcome to another episode of Mighty Car Mods, proudly supported by that noisy freaking truck. Ready?
Yeah.
You're doing the mouth thing, aren't you?
No. I won't do it. I might.
Now I'm thinking about you.
Okay, just do your dick. I mean, do your thing. Talk in the dick.
Welcome to another episode of Mighty Car Mods, proudly supported...
All right, let's do it. I have to go back and eat my burger.
Same. Oh, whose burger do you have to eat? All right, here we go.